welcome to the latest episode of Nerds Amalgamated. I'm your host, DJ. And with me today, I have the Professor.
Hello.
And Buck.
Hello.
So, how's it going, chaps?
Pretty good. I'm pretty excited to be recording with you guys again.
Same here.
Although
we're not assless.
No, I'm not that kind of chaps.
We just thought we'd better make sure we mention that.
Oh god, I need the brain bleach.
We've got a lot of topics to discuss. We got Red Dead. We're going to be talking about Red Dead Redemption 2, Subterranean drones, and the recent Aladdin movie teaser trailer. So, first up, Professor, you've got a story about the new recent Red Dead Redemption 2 workloads, the 100-hour workloads, might I add.
Yes, there's an excellent article in the show notes from Gamer Sutra where they took a quote from an interview with the Rockstar co-founder, Dan Houser, who said that they were working 100-hour weeks in the weeks leading up to the release of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's now tried to roll that back and come out and said, "We don't tell people to crunch, it's a personal choice." But crunch is always bad.
Well, here's the thing though, right? Like, it's not a mandatory thing, and it was only for 3 weeks at a time.
And they say it's only the writing team and all of these other qualifiers.
But the thing that gets me is if you actually look at some of the statistics, that's basically like 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to mining and actually working for a living. Like, you got a lot of the guys working in warehouses at Christmas time that are doing 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 weeks or 4 weeks straight leading into Christmas. And then they have a week or two off over the Christmas break. Mining does the same. It's 3 weeks on, 1 week on sort of thing. And it's usually 14 hours a shift. There's so many industries out there that are doing this and still having a life.
The problem is, though, with the game development industry, you don't get that 2 weeks on, 1 week off break like you do in the mining industry.
They release the game, and then what do?
They go straight on to the next game. Do you remember the EA spouse letter?
I'm not off the top of my head, no, sorry.
It's an open letter from the wife of an EA developer from 2006, criticizing EA for their crunch time practices. And in it, she makes the point that they keep saying you'll get extra holiday and time off at the end of this crunch, but then they just roll you into another project.
Okay, well, if they're not actually delivering on their promises, that's another matter. But there's so many industries out there where people end up working huge workloads for a long period of time, and it's just part and parcel of it. So I'm sorry if I'm being unsympathetic here.
Yeah. Although a couple of days ago there have been some clarifications to this whole mess. I found an article that was saying that the quote, they're saying there seems to be some confusion arising from my interview with Harold Goldberg. The point I was trying to make in the article was related to how the narrative and dialogue in the game was crafted. What else he said?
I don't know, but
yeah. Long story short,
we'll post the article so that people can read it themselves.
It does have some sources from IGDA, and I just check who the source is, but there's sources about how crunch is detrimental.
Kate Edwards commented. She was a former executive director. She talks about how it burns people
former
out.
executive director of IGDA.
But I'm not saying it's a good thing, but there's so many people out there that just they work long hours because that's what's required. Like, I know it's going to sound really ridiculously stupid, but I know that there's solicitors out there that are starting work at 6 o'clock in the morning, if not earlier, and are finishing at like 11 o'clock at night, and that's par for the course. Like, there's just so many people out there that are working huge hours.
That's still not good for your body, though.
I'm not saying it is. It's partially the reason why I'm back at studying at uni now, because it's the simple fact that I was doing ridiculous hours as a workaholic and I burnt out. But 14 hours a day would have been lovely. Like, I was doing 18 hours a day for for weeks on end at a time there. So
alas, poor Bucky, the flame that burns twice as long, twice as bright, burns twice as fast.
it does. So yeah, like they're only like it's just because it's the whole 3-week thing here that gets me. It's like you were saying, it's only 3 weeks at a time just to finish off a project. Okay, he's not great, but I don't know why everyone's making such a huge issue about it.
The reason why they're making a huge issue is because we've seen this sort of crunch culture before, and that was during the Telltale Games saga, which is still ongoing.
It's because it's abused in the games industry.
It's abused in almost every industry. It's just gamers, like game developers, seem to be a little bit more soft, I guess.
Are you saying something about my weight?
No, that would be squishy.
But they're now saying that we should make like a game developers union or something like that to protect ourselves from being in situations like this. So
everyone else has a union, might as well join the club.
Yeah. See, like I remember reading an article about 100-hour work weeks and how they're bad for you and all this sort of stuff. But they're just so common in so many different industries. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree that it's like even the medical industry gets like might be working more than 100 hours.
Paramedics out there driving ambulances regularly do more than 100 hours. Just because and it's their EBA or Employment Benefits Agreement, for those who don't understand, actually consists of, there's actually a line where if they work for more than 8 hours without having had a break, they go up into special penalty ranges and all this sort of stuff above and beyond what anyone else gets. And then, there's actually a number of studies done on doctors working in hospitals, like with like surgery and all that sort of stuff, where they're doing, like literally they're doing 18, 20, 24 hours without a break on a regular basis. Like you look at some of the surgeries where they're there in surgery for, I think the record I've ever, like the largest I've heard of, and I've never been able to find evidence to support it, was 72 hours of surgery.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that though is that there's actually evidence to show that longer shifts are a good thing in medicine, because the less handoffs you have, the less chance there is for information to be lost or for someone to forget to check up on someone. So you get better patient outcomes.
Look, honestly, I'm not against the idea, but the thing that I'm concerned about is the fact that after you've been awake for 18 hours, your brain actually starts to develop a condition which is exactly the same as being drunk. So having a blood alcohol level of 0.05 after 18 hours. After 20 hours, it increases exponentially, and it keeps doing that. So
I remember in primary school once, now hopefully this is the episode my parents don't listen to, but in primary school once I stayed up for 3 nights without sleeping. Maybe there's a reason I'm so messed up.
Yeah, I don't think it was the lack of sleep. I think there's other issues there. But then again, I'm not that far different, so yeah.
Article I've got an interesting article, guys, about the whole 100 hours. A couple of interesting hypotheses one person has posted. So, example, hypothesis 1: individuals who do perform better at work. Oh, yeah. So, hypothesis 1, for example, individuals who do less and then obsess will perform better at work than those who don't. That's one hypothesis.
Wait, so what does that mean? You leave all your work till the last minute, then freak out?
Yeah.
But that depends upon the person. Not that is a uni thing, leaving your assignments to the very last second. You posted the exact same link that I was just about to.
Yeah.
That's the Forbes one.
Yeah, great minds think alike. How does it feel being the DJ's equal?
Yeah. Screw you.
But it's such a dangerous thinking though. Like the employees thinking that working more hours would equate to better performance. That's very, isn't it?
Well, it is true that, like Bucky was saying, when you're awake for that long, you start to hit a point where you are basically drunk. So if you are doing that, you are suffering some loss of productivity.
That's the reason why truck drivers have to keep a logbook and they're only allowed to drive a certain number of hours in a 24-hour period and all that sort of stuff. Because of this fatigue and all that, it does start to affect you.
Yeah, I wonder if there's I wonder if there's any studies on it about the length of time. So, like, whether it's a linear drop in performance if you work 100 hours a week for like each week it drops to about the same amount, or if you hit a wall eventually and it just completely stops. I suppose that would be burnout.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know for myself, I did it pretty constantly for quite a long time, and then just every now and again I'd come home and I'd have the weekend where I just wouldn't get out of bed and just stay there and sleep. So it's extremely unhealthy in a lot of ways. But I like the way Sweden's actually gone. If you're going to start looking at this sort of thing, Sweden's actually got companies that have introduced a 6-hour day.
I'd be okay with that. I mean, that is what I'm doing, but until I move up to full time after my
This is classified
introductory period. But
this is classified as full pay and full-time hours.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
So I think one of the European countries also has a 4-day week. I think it was the Netherlands. My memory serves me right. The Netherlands has a 4-day week. Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, some people like to work 10 hours a day and then take Friday off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that. I used to work at a company where we would do 4 days of 10 hours a day, and it would be a rotating shift where there were 4 teams, and you would have 2 weeks of morning shift, Sunday to Wednesday, and then you would have 2 weeks of morning shift, Wednesday to Saturday, and then you would have 2 weeks of afternoon shifts and so forth. And yeah, like you sit there after a while, and you'd end up at certain points where you'd have almost an entire week where you'd have nothing once a month. So yeah. Because when it changed from the Monday to Wednesday to the Wednesday to Saturday, it was you finished that week, and then it was the next week you'd come in, you'd have to do the Wednesday to Saturday. So you would have gone from Wednesday through to Wednesday. So, but yeah, I think we're starting to get a bit off track here, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, back to the game though. You guys hyped about the game though? In the end?
No.
I'm not getting it.
Who's interested in playing Red Dead Redemption?
Me. I played Red Dead Redemption 1, and it was a really beautiful game. And I'm really hyped about Red Dead Redemption 2 because it's a long time coming. I mean,
kind of like we're waiting for you to get the joke in the sarcasm.
No,
our listeners,
yes,
the DJ is bald because of all the jokes that just seem to go over his head.
Yeah, some of those low-flying jokes unfortunately scalped him at one point.
Anyways, Buck story about Subterranean drone.
CSIRO has entered into a competition with DARPA where they're employing drones or working on employing drones for providing 3D maps of subterranean spaces. And they're the only Australian team that's involved in this project, which the Sub-T Challenge team, which is the Australian team, comprises of nearly 30 people from across the different areas. Some of them are from CSIRO, some of them are from QUT, and some from the University of Queensland. So, yeah, it's quite a lot of fun.
They sound like they would have been pretty useful a few months ago with the Thai kids.
Well, that's the whole concept behind it, is for mapping caverns and so forth in rescue situations and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, they're pairing. They've already been working on this sort of technology for a while, where they've had a hover map used to fly in an underground mine 600 meters below the surface in Western Australia. So in rescue situations, before you send people in, you want to know what's where and all that sort of thing. this is the perfect way to do it. And it's not using sound waves either as part of the mapping. It's using light, from what I can understand.
So, a LIDAR, I believe.
Yeah, I can't. I'm just trying to find where they actually discuss it in the article. But yeah, like I remember when I was doing my undergrad, we were looking at different things for sounds, like auditory localization. So, and I actually suggested something similar to this as part of my practical applications, without having even realised that people were actually doing this. So yeah, LIDAR, light detection and ranging. So yeah, if you use sonar with sound waves and so forth, you can actually destabilize structures and so forth and cause collapses. And it's also going to have other effects, such as disturbing animals and insects, and certain sound waves have been shown to create nausea. So yeah.
Interesting thing about sound waves affecting bats.
Yes.
There's a particular moth that lives in the caves up north that flaps its wings rapidly when it hears a bat flying around, and that disrupts the bat's echolocation, so the bat just can't steer.
Yes. There's actually been studies done where if you have people standing in a circle clapping a certain cadence, it actually puts all the colonies of fruit bats out of sync, and they start running into each other.
And it affects people too. They reckon that most cases of hauntings are possibly from infrasound, so very low frequency sound waves. That there's been studies that have shown that particular frequencies will disrupt something in your brain and make you feel an ominous presence.
It's sound waves have a lot of effects on people. So the sounds that you can hear and you can't hear are always affecting you.
Could you imagine Boston Dynamic entering into this project?
They possibly have been. It's a massive project, so I'm pretty sure Boston Dynamics is already doing stuff with DARPA.
Yep, they probably are. Military-industrial complex there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I can hate DARPA for everything. I mean, they did work on the internet.
You got to remember that, like, a lot of the technology we have today is due to a lot of the military research.
Yep.
Like planes and flight technology will be nowhere near as advanced as it is without war application. Same with medicine
and space travel.
We wouldn't have penicillin without the situation in World War II and all that. I think it led to the discovery of penicillin.
Yeah, or at least the mass production of it.
Mm.
I can't remember exactly when it was discovered.
Penicillin, it's
because there was a big discovery for the Allies in World War II. Before that, they used to just use they were using old mouldy bread for treating cuts and wounds, and it was actually discovered by accident.
Yeah.
Discovered in 1928 by Scottish scientist Alex Fleming.
Mm-hmm. At
Sir
St
Alex
Mary's
Fleming,
Hospital.
by the way. Yeah.
And then I think it was an Aussie guy who developed penicillin itself as a medicine.
Mm-hmm.
You mean as in mass production, or?
Well, as in, derived it and worked out how to develop it into a drug.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Fleming discovered it, if I remember correctly, and then it wasn't until World War II that it was developed into an actual proper drug.
Yeah. Howard Florey, that was his name. Or later,
Howard Florey and Ernst Chain, researchers at University of Oxford.
Yep.
So yeah, and that was for treating streptococcal septicemia as initially, but then it's just they realised they had lots more applications.
I think we're getting a bit sidetracked with the penicillin and whatnot. So what are your thoughts? What do you guys think in the end? Do you reckon this will revolutionize the various sectors such as mining and
I hope
rescue
it's
work?
good for rescue work. I hope it revolutionizes that.
Yeah, because the thing is,
are...
not just in caves, it's also when you look at collapsed buildings and that sort of thing. And by using light waves and so forth, you can have penetration of areas for rescues that you're otherwise not able to get access to.
Yeah, just drive it around in the
that'd
drive
be
it
awesome.
around in the
Area.
in the area and find all the wounded people.
And you can even have it so that you don't even have to drive it yourself. You can have unmanned aerial reconnaissance vehicles, which is the one that actually operated in Western Australia, where it actually flies itself around and maps out the area and then returns to a certain point after a period of time.
Cool.
So, yeah. Of course, the military application is that they're going to be able to have them fly silently above troop positions to map out where troops are located.
Yeah, it's why kids in the Middle East only go out to play on cloudy days.
Yep.
Because drones can't see you on cloudy days.
Well, they can, but let's not discuss that part.
Happy times, happy topics.
Yes. So yeah, like there's the potential that this is able to deliver is just it's a groundbreaking area and moving forward.
Yeah. Speaking of groundbreaking and moving forward, I've got one story that might be interesting for you guys. So a couple of days ago, the live action version of the Disney animated movie Aladdin came out. A teaser trailer, by the way, mind you, and it looked very, very beautiful. Very beautiful.
This is the one by Guy Ritchie, isn't it?
Yeah, directed by Guy Ritchie. Yeah, and it's got a whole star lineup, like Will Smith as the Genie, Mina Massoud as Aladdin. Massoud, famously enough, he was recently in Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, the TV series. That was his recent role. Then you have Naomi Scott. She is the Pink Ranger in the recent Power Rangers movie. And the guy playing as Jafar is Frank Welker, famous for Megatron in Transformers, Ebler in Futurama.
The most important question here, though, is who's playing the Genie?
I was going to say, I'm saving that for the last.
Didn't you already say it? Isn't it Will Smith? I'm pretty sure I heard you say that.
Yeah, I did say it, yeah. So, yeah, Will Smith is playing as Genie.
Yeah, but is he going to be as good as Robin Williams?
No.
That's a big question. That's a big question.
He won't be as good as Robin Williams.
I'm sorry, but even if he had size 39 feet, he wouldn't be able to fill the shoes of Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams captured Genie really well. He captured it really well.
I said Will Smith isn't some kind of master actor like Robin Williams was.
Doesn't have the same level of insanity.
Will Smith only really does one character.
Although, mind you, though, Will Smith, has been in a couple of really heavy movies recently.
Yeah, but he's
really heavy movie.
Like nothing against Will Smith, but compared to Robin Williams, he's a featherweight.
Yeah.
Like Robin Williams was one of those actors that could give you some of the most mind-blowingly deep and meaningful stories, but still have you wetting your pants with laughter at the same time.
Yeah. But
Robin Williams is amazing. I've been watching Mork and Mindy, and it's so good. It's so.
In a second, so actually, who's playing as Jafar? No, Jafar's not played by Frank Welker. He's played by Marwan Kenzari. My mistake. Marwan Kenzari is playing as Jafar, and I made a mistake. But Frank Welker, he's playing as the Cave. He's doing the voice of the Cave of Wonders.
Mm-hmm. Which is, you've got to have a ballsy voice to do that.
Yeah. I personally, when I saw the teaser trailer, I just thought that just looks really identical to the movie, to the animated movie.
Well, that's all the Disney live-action remakes. It's literally just, let's get some big-name actors to act out the roles of the animated characters.
Yeah. And it's... I'm two approaches to this and attitudes, because I love when they do these sorts of movies. I've always loved them. But trying to replace Robin Williams so soon is just bad.
Yeah.
So what are we going to get next? Someone out there trying to do a remake of Good Morning Vietnam or Dead Poet Society?
Or a remake of
Mrs.
the Doctor
Doubtfire,
movie.
Patch Adams.
Yeah, that's it.
Like the level of genius that Robin Williams had when he delivered those characters. Like other actors out there, like Jack Nicholson and all that, have all said that nobody else other than Robin Williams could really have done those roles and done them justice to the same level as what he did.
I kind of doubt this is going to be any good.
It'll be interesting to watch, but yeah, it's not going to be the same. You're going to be watching it the whole way through, just going, Robin Williams did that so much.
I think the only one of these that's been any actually good is the the Jungle Book remake.
Yeah, Tarzan wasn't too bad. I enjoyed that one, and the Beauty and the Beast one.
Oh yes, that was beautiful.
I've got to give that credit. That was actually a really good remake.
It's got Hermione in it.
Well, yeah, and she can actually sing quite well. But it was just the whole fun atmosphere that was created around it.
Okay.
What's interesting for me is how Disney's going from they made like sequels of The Incredibles, they did the Marvel movies. They're now going to this whole direction of let's remake all these animated movies into live action. Like we had the Jungle Book, we had Buck said the Beauty and the Beast. I think next year we might see a Dumbo live action Dumbo movie.
Who will play the elephant?
There is one slated somewhere. I did see something about.
Who's playing as Dumbo? No one's playing the elephant, but Colin Farrell's going to be in it. Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito. Danny
DeVito is the elephant. Just put some grey makeup on him, and you won't be able to tell the difference.
That's a bit harsh. What did the elephant ever do to get you upset like that?
Oh, it's a long story, Bucky.
But Danny DeVito is the circus owner.
Yeah, he could do that real well as well.
Yeah,
he's good at doing the angry jerk character.
I'm actually looking at the wiki page about the release for Dumbo 2019, and it's got him there. Eva Green as Colette Marchand, a French trapeze artist. They're not saying who does the voice for the elephant or anything. Although it's got Rashaan Seth and Douglas Reith up here in undisclosed roles.
Now, I don't know if I've ever seen Dumbo, but does he actually have a voice?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the one where the original cartoon animated version of it was the one where it had the crows singing the song and making fun of him and all that sort of stuff.
Speaking of Disney, I saw on the news today an article where some actresses were, I think it's, who's the girl from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Keira Knightley
and Kirsten Bell, I think it might have been.
Yeah,
talking about the message behind Disney princesses. And one of them mentioned that they didn't think it was right for the prince to kiss the princess, to kiss Sleeping Beauty without permission. And that just got me thinking what it would be like to get full-on proper Grimm's fairy tale versions of the Disney princesses. Because in the original Sleeping Beauty, she gets pregnant and has kids while she's still asleep.
Yes.
It's not until she wakes up when her baby bumps into her and knocks the apple out of her mouth.
And then Snow White and Seven Dwarfs becomes... Because it also depends on which version of Sleeping Beauty you look at as well. There's a few different ones. And Snow White and Seven Dwarfs is based on 7 different legends, such as the princess and her 7 knights is one story. And it's pretty grisly. So... But then again, Disney is trying to go dark these days, so maybe they could.
But here's the thing, though, like with Kirsten Bell saying about how Sleeping Beauty is a very controversial movie and stuff. The funny thing is, Kirsten Bell, she acted as an underage prostitute in Deadwood. I mean, an underage prostitute assassin in Deadwood.
But
wow, that's the most anime thing I've ever heard.
But the thing that people haven't really considered with all this is, when Cinderella and that was released, it was a children's fairy tale done in a romantic way. And it was a product of the time.
Yeah, they're all at least 50 years old these days. So I don't
Oh.
think it's fair to criticize them with a modern viewpoint.
Like we actually looked at this when I was doing psychology, and it was actually an exam question. Was Walt Disney sexist? And when we discussed it in class, we're having to actually look at the fact that Walt Disney actually employed the first female director and producer.
Yeah, he's done a lot of dodgy things, but that's not one of them.
Yeah, he was just a man, and everyone sits there and they're all going through and attacking him. But they've got to look at it in context of the time that he was in, and they're just not doing that because we don't want to let reality impact on a good whinge.
Yes, and if you like whinging, you should listen to Glass of Wine.
Yes, that way you can learn how to do it properly. Actually, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs just was released in Australia on the 2nd of June 1938. So it's coming up to being... It's over 80 years old now for Snow White.
That's an old movie to still be in such public consciousness.
Yeah, but it's so controversial.
Yeah.
And then Sleeping Beauty was 1959.
But I just think this whole controversial Disney princesses is just like, oh, do they really have to say it though? I mean, what are they trying to prove?
I do like to see poking fun at it in the Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer, where the princesses are having a party, and they're like, "You're a princess? Did you get saved from a castle? Did a brave man fight a dragon for you?"
Well, that was also in Shrek.
Yeah, that was a parody of that as well.
So, honestly, I think a lot of it is just they're just trying to do something controversial so people remember that they're still there because they're appearing in less and less movies these days.
Although, isn't Kirsten Bell in The Good Place?
Well, apparently she's not in that good a place because she's complaining about a Disney movie. Oh!
Well, if you'd seen the rest of all of The Good Place, you'd know that.
But one could say she needs to let go. Let go.
No. God, she was in Frozen, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I just lost the respect for her.
I don't know. I was just going to go with the line of the song that I was singing for the DJ before we started. Let it go, let it go, let the diarrhea go. But she has, because she's just dribbled it out all over the place. She's got an excessive case of verbal diarrhea without actually expressing anything worthwhile.
So, DJ, how did you transpose your mind into another body?
Oh, that would be great.
Well, I don't know. You in your body's bad enough. We don't want you in somebody else's.
But yeah, final thoughts, fellas, on this? Final thoughts?
Be interesting to watch. Hopefully it isn't stuffed up by pathetic egos that just don't step up to the plate.
Yeah.
I
hope
mind you,
the one playing the Genie isn't trying to do a complete takeoff of the original. Like, I hope they try to make it their own thing, but still pay homage to
Robin Williams.
To Robbie.
Hopefully he doesn't try to make it so it's like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Men in Black, and it's going to now have its own rap theme songs and so forth.
You're telling me this is some sort of bandit camp?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Can you imagine Will Smith rapping in the middle of Aladdin?
Unfortunately, yes, and it's not good.
I bet it would be like those shitty YouTubers who come up with rap songs about how much money they have. Like, you come out of the cave with all the gold and be like, "Yo, what up? I got millions of dollars."
Probably.
Oh, man. Just weird. Although, I will say this before we go to the next topics. This is Guy Ritchie's second fantasy movie, mind you. His first one was the recent King Arthur movie. That was an interesting switch from his usual movies.
Because Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was based on a real true story.
What King Arthur movie? I completely missed that one somehow.
You missed the recent King Arthur movie?
Yeah.
With the bloke from Sons of Anarchy.
Okay. For a second, I was thinking, is that the one with does it have Russell Crowe in it? And I was like, no, that's Robin Hood and Gladiator and basically every other fantasy action movie of the 2010s.
Do we list them all out there, DJ? You had a thing for Russell Crowe in Gladiator and the leather and all that.
Oh, let's not go there. Let's not go there. But yeah, that this is an
King
interesting
Arthur, Legend
direction
of the
for him.
Sword.
Yeah,
but Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and all that weren't based on true stories. You do realise that, don't you? They're not reality.
I'm sure he does.
I'll just got to check and make sure because he's looking a little bit confused.
No, what I'm trying to say is he's changed his roles from gangster movies to to basically fantasy action movies. That's the point I was trying to make.
But has he?
Yeah. I mean, with you've got Sherlock Holmes, which was basically a mystery movies.
The
and
Russell
then the man
Downey
from
versions?
Not
Russell Downey. Yeah. Robert Downey
Russell
Jr.
Downey.
Who's starting to have the bit of the Russell Crowe fantasy here going now?
The DJ is a bad influence on me.
Uh-huh.
I swear, it's not my choice.
Yep, something happened there. What's going on?
Did I drop out for a moment? The DJ dropped out.
The DJ?
Yeah, my computer went to sleep because I hadn't touched the mouse.
Oh, okay.
But no, we've lost the DJ.
Oh.
He's completely offline. His internet must have finally kicked the bucket.
Either that or he did. But, hey, the thing you got to understand with Guy Ritchie doing the fantasy movies is the fact that he was married to Madonna for 8 years. If that doesn't give you enough of an excuse to want to escape reality, I don't know what else will.
Do you reckon he'd go around driving Madonna crazy, singing the Weird Al parodies of her songs?
I reckon he probably would offer to do the direction for the film clips.
That would be a good stress reliever, listening to Weird Al Yankovic versions of Madonna.
I just listened to Weird Al Yankovic. Is pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, let's keep moving forward.
All right,
as opposed to moving backwards or sideways.
I keep hearing myself, my own voice, echoing over the DJ's mic.
I heard it as well. He's run away again.
DJ, do you read me? DJ, do you read me?
I am alive.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Anyways, guys, what have you guys been playing?
I've been playing TIS 100.
Ooh.
It's an assembly programming-based puzzle game. It's by the guys who made Space Chem and Infinifactory. And I think their latest game is Magnum Opus. But this one, the plot is that your uncle, who passed away in mysterious circumstances, had a Russian computer in his garage. And you're trying to decode it and reprogram the corrupted files to work out the conspiracy. It is a pain to do, though, because it's assembly programming, so it's very no hand-holding, very difficult. It is enjoyable, though.
So we found a Dark Souls version of PC gaming for the professor.
Yeah, it's like the Dark Souls version of Human Resources Machine. Instead of having cute graphics, it's all just text.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
We'll have to give you the horror version next, where it's all operating in machine code.
Oh, like binary?
Yes.
You know, I'm actually working on a replica of a Altair 8800, which has a binary input panel.
That would be so much fun.
Oh yeah, I'm actually using it for my escape room that's coming up. The players are going to have to decode a code using a code table I give them, and then enter it into the computer using the toggle switches. I'll just be making it using an Arduino to begin with, though, not running any proper Altair software, just because it'll be easier to bodge together something than deal with all the overhead of the operating system, or of the emulator, to be fair.
011011111 011011011.
Okay, I'm lost.
Well,
I can't do binary conversions in my head.
Or for those non-nerds, okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think I've told you about this guy before. Friend that I knew when I was in high school, worked for Queensland Rail, and when he was doing his degree in programming, had to actually learn how to program in binary and machine code.
Ouch. I've got a friend who's doing that at the moment, and they're like, do you know any resources for programming in machine code? I'm just like, don't bother.
Yeah, caffeine and worry beads. Although he was telling me he actually found it quite a lot easier when he was if he had an abacus as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he would sit there playing around with an abacus and that sort of thing, and he had actually set up a couple of abaci where he actually had all the stuff all worked out beforehand, and then he could just go through, and it was just like, so yeah, you just do tap 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 and make it happen.
That's pretty clever.
It's much worse when you actually get into doing hexadecimal programming, which is restricted to certain robotic functions only, from what I've ever heard. So
yeah, I haven't coded in it, but I was working with Hex the other day. I was trying to hack together a couple of phone backups, iPhone backups, trying to reverse engineer them so I could recover some data. I spent 2 days writing a script for that, and then I found out that some software I had already did that for me in the latest version.
Okay. Yeah, I remember sitting there working on different programs, problems this guy would give me, and yeah, you'd sit there struggling for days on end trying to work out and decode things into normal. And he'd be really, really nasty occasionally. He'd code something into hexadecimal, translate it to binary, and then give it to me. So I'd have to translate it in from one to the next. But it was always fun.
Wow. Your friend sounds like a bastard.
No. Just he knew I liked puzzles and challenges like that, and yeah,
fair enough.
He was an epic nerd. This is a guy who had a granny flat where one wall he had fish tanks where he was breeding fish, and on the other side of the room he had his computers all set up, and he had an amazing computer outlay.
So which era was this? Were they 386? Like Commodores, Amigas?
It was around the 386 era. So we're talking like 89, 90, 91.
Okay.
Actually, there was a game he used to play. I can't remember what it was called. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what the name of it is now.
Okay.
You can keep going there, DJ. You don't have to just wait on me.
Oh, no, you're echoing back. What is the DJ doing?
I don't know. He makes funny noises and everything.
He's crossed the streams.
Anyways, guys. So, Bark, you've been playing an interesting game.
I have.
Yes, you have. One known as Sniper Ghost Warrior, I see.
Okay, have I?
Yes, you did.
Yep. It's a couple of years old now, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. You get to run around as a sniper doing missions where you sit back and shoot the enemy at distance, sneak in and do knife attacks.
Oh, nice.
All that sort of stuff.
It seems a lot more action-focused than, say, Sniper Elite, though, is it?
It depends on how you play it. If you want to go full sniper, you can, but there are you swap back and forth between being a sniper and some special ops operators. So you have your periods there where you run around being crazy with guns that go in loud and everything, or you can sit back and do your sniping where you shoot from a fair distance. And it's got spectacular graphics, so when you get a headshot at range in a proper snipe, the cinematic slows down and you see the bullet going through the trajectory and it impacts and the person does a backflip in the air.
Does it do the gore cam that Sniper Elite does?
No, unfortunately. And I did actually enjoy that when I used to play that back in the day too. But yeah, it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You run around the jungles of, I think it's in South America, and you get to snipe enemy soldiers and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, who's not going to enjoy that? I think it also has a multiplayer aspect, so you can actually play against other people. I haven't done that yet.
Are you gonna do the extra side missions and try and get the hardest medal achievement?
Oh, in the long run, yeah. It's one of those games that's not one you can do the whole thing in a week when you're doing assignments for uni and stuff as well. So, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun to run around and.
I wonder what's the hardest achievement for that game.
Pardon?
I wonder what's the hardest achievement for Sniper or for Ghost Warrior.
I know I used to turn around and when I used to play it on PlayStation, I used to sneak in and do knife attacks if I could.
Oh yeah,
and that was always really hard because you'd be sneaking in trying to get close without being detected to do a knife attack. So you'd have to sit there and be ready so you could change weapons because you sometimes have 2 or 3 people there. And you could get a knife attack on one, maybe the second if you're really quick, but the third one you'd always have to switch over to your silenced pistol to shoot them 3 times.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I want to try the game now.
But yeah, you run around like it's got to be South America because you're running around what looks like Mayan or Incan ruins and battling drug dealers.
That'll be fun. I'm still playing Path of Exile. It's really fun.
Hello.
It's just been cool.
DJ, come in. DJ, come in. We do not hear you, DJ. Do you copy DJ?
Hey,
I copy.
Yeah, you've moved away from your microphone, DJ.
Am I still
DJ,
alive?
nothing heard. Assuming soldier lost. Minute silence for the lost soldier.
Were
Moving on.
Were you thinking about Russell Crowe in his leather?
No, I wasn't thinking of anybody.
Because you're still very distant. Can you? We normally tell you to move away from your microphone, but you want to actually speak towards your microphone a bit.
I said sit at the other end of a footy field, not sit on the moon.
Oh, so I've been playing Path of Exile, and I'm just having too much fun with that game. I mean, yeah, I do get intimidated by the massive skill tree. Still massive. It's fun. Now I'm just having trouble trying to sell most of the inventory that's been piling up in my stash.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can use it to buy other stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying. Like, so
you can combine items to create other things as well. From memory.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I've just been trying to figure out what to combine. So I've just been exploring around, but I might eventually learn more in the long run.
I
think my
very,
barbarian
very
needs
it's
better
hard to
weapons.
Hear you. You're very, very faint. It's hard to hear you. We may have to edit this section out if you can't speak.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, just edit that.
See if I can boost it, but I can only do so much.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You can edit it out.
Have you changed your microphone?
No, I haven't changed my microphone. No.
Have you got?
Sounds like he's got something in his mouth. Like he's got something in his mouth.
Have you got something in your mouth, DJ?
He's dead.
Hello. Oh well. So I guess since he's vanished, do we just keep talking?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to shout outs. We have Paul G. Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, has died at the age of 65.
Yes, he died of cancer. I was actually about him a few weeks ago. He worked with Bill Gates on the original version of Microsoft Basic, which is what made them famous. They actually distributed it on the Altair 8800.
Mm-hmm.
What have we got next?
After there was something the DJ was saying about earlier. Somebody else had passed.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
Okay. Oh, well, if he comes back, he can tell us it. But famous birthdays this week, we have Oscar Wilde, the Irish poet and playwright, who's famous for works such as The Picture of Dorian Gray, being camper than Elton John, and being arrested for it.
Yep.
Um,
Oscar Wilde and Alan Turing, probably the two most famous people to be arrested for being gay.
And then also this week we had Carl Gordon Haynes. He stuffed the spelling up on that. It was Hennies or something.
Yeah, it's the link's right under it. It's Hennies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Someone needs to slap the DJ. Because I even said that to him because he did that before. An American astronomer, space scientist, NASA astronaut, and professor at Northwestern University.
I like where you're going with that slip there. Nastronaut. We should use that as the official abbreviation now.
I thought it sounded better. But he was mission specialist on the Space Lab 2 mission, also known as STS-51F. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1926. And for all those who are needing to lose weight, other than the professor and myself, Dr. Robert Atkins, nutritionist, was born this week in 1930.
The inventor of the Atkins diet. So who did they name the light and easy diet after?
Wow. I could tell you her name, but she charges by the hour.
Okay.
Because she was easy. Moving right on. I can't thought that one would go past you. Yep, he's back. Events of interest. Actually, there was someone you were saying you wanted to give a shout out to before the show.
Yeah, his name is Ian Kiernan, and he's the founder of Clean Up Australia Day.
Okay, and he passed just this week, was it?
Yeah, he passed away this week after a long battle with cancer. Yeah, at 78 as well, which is pretty sad.
Oh, our condolences.
Yeah, but yeah.
You going to hang around now and take back over hosting the show, or you want me to keep going?
Oh yeah, keep going, dude. I'm fine.
You sure?
I've already lost you twice in the last 5 minutes, so
yeah, just keep going.
Okay. In events of interest, we have a marvelous day on the 17th of October, 1814. A beer flood occurred in the parish of St. Giles, London. Unfortunately, it killed 9 people, but reports were that all 9 of them were dragged out multiple times and just kept going back for more.
That reminds me of the Boston molasses flood. A molasses storage tank broke and killed a couple of dozen people and injured like over 100.
It was a sticky situation, that one.
You know what would be even funnier? Imagine being at the pearly gates after that beer flood, and God goes, "So how'd you die, mate?" Yeah, I died in the beer flood.
Well, there's supposed to be some Peter at the gates, not God. But yeah, I've actually got a funny joke for you about the Pope appearing at the gates of heaven. And St. Peter's there and asked him, "Who are you?" And he goes, "I'm the Pope." "No, I don't have a Pope on the list here." "What'd you do?" "I was the representative of God on earth." So St. Peter goes, "I've never heard of you." So he goes away and checks. Goes and speaks to God. God's like, "No, never heard of him." He goes, "Let's check with Jesus." So he calls out, "Jesus, but you know this guy?" And Jesus comes over, looks at the description and all the details, and he goes, "Oh, you remember that fishing club I started back a couple of 1,000 years ago? Apparently it's still going." But moving on, now we've had the sacrilegious episode of the show. 17th of October, 1888, Thomas Edison filed a patent for the optical phonograph, or the first movie. So, 16th of October, 1964, China's first nuclear test. 54 years ago. And hasn't that done wonders for the world?
Yep.
16th of October 2017, findings published of neutron star collision, the first cosmic event seen in gravitational waves and light on the 17th of October, confirms heavy elements such as gold, the result of such collisions. So for all those people wearing gold jewelry, you've only got it because a neutron star collided.
Same with carbon.
Mm-hmm. So those sparkly gems you got for your bling bling for the mumble rappers that can't actually speak and look like they've fallen asleep at a party in the 80s and 90s and had people draw all over their face.
Bucks on fire. Bucks on fire.
I'm not on fire at all.
Hey, someone call the ambulance.
But that's all we've got. That's all we've got on the list so far. So nothing else to add there, guys?
No, I don't believe there is.
DJ, you don't have anything new?
No,
nothing breaking on the news front?
No, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Yeah. Although there were talks about how Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are no longer in the DC cinema universe. And that's
boring. That's the end of the episode.
But,
Good night.
Yeah. Well, it's not hippie. It's not hippie news. it's not Marvel hippie news, at least.
Yeah, well, in the wise words of Blackadder, I'm going to have a party and no one's invited but me. So, yes. Please check us out and all our other episodes. We are on
Stitcher, iTunes, the That's Not Canon website,
Spotify.
Yep.
Hey, Twit, what's our address?
At an amalgamated.
And our email address?
nerds.amalgamated@gmail.com.
Any other way people can get hold of us to tell us how pathetic or grumpy we are, or complain about me telling a sacrilegious joke?
Stalking us.
Wow. We might enjoy that.
I stalked once. I didn't enjoy it.
It's like with the Vikings when they used to do the raping and pillaging. Nobody enjoyed the pillaging. So nothing else we need to...
I feel like we should wrap this up before we tell any more bad jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, we should wrap it up.
Alrighty. Let's wrap it up then. Hooroo.
See you next week.
See you guys.